Hola, ¿qué tal? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Meg James, your Move to Spain coach, and this is episode Veinte, our 20th episode together, talking about the differences of US and Spain and how you and your family could consider a move to Spain as well. And so it's a dreary January day. Oh, poor Nacho. He's like just ready to move to Tenerife. I caught him looking up homes in Tenerife the other day on the internet. So we're ready for El Sol. But in the meantime, let's switch the topic and talk about football or soccer here in Spain. It's a new sport for our family. We played something different in the US, but I want to unpack the questions that you have about our two boys, ages 12 and 10, playing in football here. And I'll explain to you a little bit more on how we got started, how you might be able to get started too if you decided to move to Spain, and anything that feels very different to us here now as a football family. Okay, today I'm just going to keep it simple and answer your questions that you had about kids playing football here in Spain. Now, first of all, you can't call it soccer. So there's pro tip number one. That's one of the first ways to get Spanish people angry with you is to call football soccer here in Spain. And so, in fact, if I said soccer here, people wouldn't know what I was referring to. And so you have to call it football. This is new for us, a completely new sport. So we were a baseball family. My husband Logan played Division I college baseball, and that's how we met at college. And he was a Division I athlete playing second base. And our boys were actually pretty good at baseball. I mean, they may be not major league good, but they were major league good in my heart. And if we had stayed in the US, we would be continuing the grind of taking them to travel baseball tournaments every weekend, devoting our lives, besides to Jesus, also to baseball. And so it's very important to note that it's very different for us living in a country where baseball is not super known. And so you can play baseball in Madrid. We have great friends, the Rhodes family, who are doing an incredible job through the American School of Madrid with the baseball program. And we did play for a season and over the summer a bit in tournaments, but it's different. It's just, there's different rules in Spain and it's just a little different. So our boys decided, and one of the best ways to immerse is to have kids join football teams. And so just want to quickly unpack our experience with that and then head into your questions. So for us, we were pretty easily able to join a team. I keep hearing comments or reading comments from people where they say, you can't play for 5 years on a visa. You have to wait 5 years to be able to play football. And that hasn't been our experience. In fact, we contacted our local CF team, which CF Valdebebas would be our local football team here. And we were able to get spots just to enroll this summer for the next season. So the season here goes from September and through May. And all we needed to do was, show all the documentation on our visas and the plans to renew it. We had to do the boys' physicals and they had a stress test. But we just had to do the same things that the Spanish citizens' kids had to do in order to play football here. And so that is my first point. A lot of people think, oh, you cannot come to Spain and play football. You can, actually. And in fact, our boys had no experience playing and they were able to get on a team even at the ages of 12 and 10. And so if you have children that you're going to be bringing to Spain when you move, it may not be impossible or harder as hard as you read to be able to join a team. I will add too that I really have been enjoying football. My husband too. The games are on Saturdays. Both of our kids have practices 2 days a week. So that means 4 days a week. We're taking them to and from practice. The practices are either walkable to us or they're within like a 10 to 15 minute drive away. So I think I would say most, not all, football parents are living here in the suburbs of Madrid and they have some form of a car. Now, I'm sure that there are Centro Madrid teams where people are taking trains to and from, but that's just not our experience because we live 15 minutes outside of Centro. And so there's all different skill levels. I mean, for this being our boys' first year, our boys are average, low average players. Griffin has scored 6 goals in the league for 10-year-olds, and Griffin sometimes starts as striker in his games. And so it's been a really good experience. Griffin especially loves playing football, where Landon, I think, is ready to switch to paddle. He's a paddle guy. And so we'll see what the future holds. But let me jump into your questions. And today we're just going to keep it very simple and we're going to talk about sports and we're going to talk about football and what that looks like here in Spain. And so someone's asking me, do they have American football in Madrid or in Spain? And the answer is yes, but not for kids to play. And so there's a team called the Madrid Bravos that I'm very excited to be partnering with this upcoming season that is an American football team. And so they're actually in the European League for American football, but they play some of the big cities around Europe, and it's such a fun environment. It helps get our fix in American football, because Griffin played American football at our school back in South Carolina, and we really do like watching American football too. And so no, children do not play American football. That's just not really an option here. I would say the main options through schools or outside of schools, like in club teams, like our club team, are football is number one that people play, tennis or paddle, which paddle is, Landon's favorite. Track is a big one. Again, there is some baseball, but it's just not as frequent. And rugby, I think that would probably be the closest equivalent. A lot of people do also play rugby. And so no American football to watch. Someone asks, how easy is it to get on a team? My son is in competitive soccer here, but I'm nervous about switching. Again, going back to the beginning, it's actually surprisingly easy. Like, we had no experience playing. It's all about just knowing who to contact. And so you definitely need to enroll in the summer prior to the season, just like in the US. And so if I had contacted and moved here in October to ask if we could play for CF Valdebebas, it would have been very unlikely because they have a max cap number of spots. And I'd probably have to wait till the next school year. And so I definitely recommend, if you're thinking about moving, maybe even in May, June, I would say maybe even earlier, April, start researching and contacting that CF or local team of wherever you're going to be moving in Spain, and just ask them, hey, is it possible to get my child on a wait list or to get them in? Now, my child, and actually both of them, I was going to say just Griffin, but Landon did not have a tryout. And so at least for our club team, there was no form of a tryout. We just needed to provide their documentation, and they made a spot on the team as long as they had availability. Okay, the next question is good options for high schooler that's already playing at a highest level in the US. This question is beyond my skill set because I just don't know about competitive soccer here. I know for a fact that there are a lot of families who come and play for the Real Madrid youth leagues, and I think it may be the same in Barcelona as well. I'm constantly getting messages from families who are saying, hey, we're coming for a couple weeks for the Real Madrid youth camp or the Real Madrid team. And in the summer, Real Madrid, we live in Valdebebas, which is Real Madrid city. And so we're constantly seeing these families come and go for these different training camps that they hold. And so I don't know the answer to this. I'd have to get you in touch with someone who knows more about competitive soccer, but I do know that summer camps are a common way that people come. And then I do know families who have moved for a year to play soccer. And so if this is your question and you still want answers, I can research some of the messages people have sent me and get you in contact. So just send me a message on Instagram over at Go and Do Good. Okay, the next question is there a women's team for you to join? Like, do they have women's teams? And the answer is yes, I think. I mean, I'm not a football player, but I can just speak from experience that our good friends who are Americans here, the husband plays on an adult team. So I would assume they would have like more intramural options for women. But now that I think about it, I've never seen a group of women practicing football. So this is a really good question. And I don't know the answer. I just know that they do have adult leagues, and it may be mixed gender, not just women's teams. So for youth sports, for at least our club team, some of the girls that are on the kids teams at ages 10 and 12 play on the boys teams because they just don't have enough girls to fill a girls team. So that may be the case here too, is that women can jump into the men's intramural type football team. The next question is, I'm looking for a weekly camp or classes for my son in June. So yes, Real Madrid camp. In fact, football camp is one of the main camps that when you search coming to Spain, wanting a summer camp, that will pop up. American School of Madrid, I think, probably has a football camp. So just hop onto Google and type in Madrid, Spain, football, F-U-T-B-O-L, camps this summer. But Real Madrid is the main one, I would say, that people tried to get into. Are the boys way behind as compared to kids their other age? And this is such a good question. We were especially petrified to have our 12-year-old join a team for the first time playing football because, I mean, some of these kids have mustaches at 12. They're so much bigger and older, and they have been playing for so long compared to our son. And so we were just like, this is going to be so tough on him to acclimate into an environment where they're so skilled. So to be honest, we have been pleasantly surprised that while there are children on his team that are much far beyond in his skill set, There are also children who may not have the skills that he has. And so I think my immediate answer would be, as long as your child is athletic and can adapt and is a team player and listens to their coach, then they'll have a great time playing football here in Spain. I don't think I was surprised to find that, they weren't as far behind as I thought. Griffin especially starts, a lot of the games, and he is one of the leading goal scorers on his team at age 10. And so I think it just depends on the child and their determination. The next one is, how does one sign up? I'm moving to Madrid in May, and I have an almost 4-year-old that I would like to start. So I don't know the youngest that they start. I do see kids that are probably 7, 8 in our club team. And so there isn't, as far as I know, actually, I don't know what it's called. I always see in the park, I was gonna say there's not like an equivalent like soccer shots in the US, which is like for littles, like ages 3 and 4. But there is in Valdebebas in the summer months, a little camp that meets outside. Can't remember the name of it. I'll put it in the comments here if I can think of it. But yeah, they definitely have some starter beginner classes for children that are young, but most club sports probably don't start until 7 or 8. So I would just do a search on that. And then someone's asking about fees. So I have a whole reel over on Instagram and a lot of other football content. So if you don't follow on Instagram at Go and Do Good, that may be a really good resource for you as a football family. But we were pleasantly surprised by the fees here. We pay about 500 euros. So let's just say about $550 twice per year, because their season again is from September through the end of May. So if we pay around $550 twice for 2, that's like $1,100. And then we're buying their kits and their gear and their backpacks. So let's just say it's another $400. I mean, we may be spending around $1,500. Now, one of the benefits I hear compared to American soccer, football, is that you pay for tournaments there and you pay for travel in tournaments. And that's not the case here. This is only happening once to us in this football season. Tournaments are all within 15 minutes away. So there's no costs. You don't pay to play. You don't pay to visit like you do in the US. I remember at baseball, travel baseball, parents were paying like $20 to go see their kids play. And I think that may be the case in the US. In Spain, you do not pay to play. You do not pay to come see your child play. And so that's a really good cultural difference that I will share over on Instagram. But the fees are, I think, pretty reasonable. I had gotten many messages from people who said, you only pay under $2,000 for 2 to play in Real Madrid City to play football. I pay $6,000 in Minnesota for my kids to play, 2 kids to play soccer there. And so I think that that's actually pretty reasonable compared to what you may think. Okay, and the last one is just, what is the level of youth soccer in Spain compared to the US? And unfortunately, I just had nothing to compare this to because we did not play. This is our first time playing. And so I'm sharing this because I think it's hopefully encouraging to a family who wants to have their child acclimate with local Spanish families and children, but they don't have a football background, a soccer background. And I'm gonna be honest that it's one of the best ways to acclimate with local families. So we go to an American school, and most of the children that attend are Spanish speaking, which is how our kids have picked up Spanish so quickly. But some people may go to an American international school. They may play tennis indoors just themselves with an English speaking trainer, and they may just stay home otherwise and have expat friends, and they may never be in those Spanish circles. I really encourage families to go all in assimilation. And so although our family does go to an American international school, like I said, at pickup every day, I am attempting to speak my best Spanish with all of the native speaking moms. Most, say 90% of the parents and kids associated at the school are Spanish speaking. Then, at church, although it's in an English church, there's lots of families there that are native Spanish speakers that we really try to communicate with. Spanish has been one of the main ways that our kids have grown to assimilate with other kids, and a lot of that has been through football and soccer. And so I see a lot of conversations happening that did not happen for our kids with some of these local kids at football. And it's so great to see them acclimate into the culture. And so the levels, I'm sure, are different, the same, harder here, harder there. I think it may just depend on the club. But unfortunately, that's not why we're part of football teams. We're just kind of here to acclimate and to keep the boys healthy and moving. So I hope that you found something here that was helpful. If I haven't shared this already, I have a Move to Spain course called movetospainmom.com, and through January 31st, it comes with a free personalized call, which is a whole nother 59 euros, so you might as well jump on that while it's on sale. And so I'd love to walk your family through a move if you're thinking of moving to Spain. Thank you for being here. Leave your comments about football here in Spain, and I would love to connect again next week. Ciao.